Pod. Mike's muted. Welcome to the Pump Fake Pod solo edition for now. Michael underscore Huffer is here. Michael underscore Huffer 3. That is me. Here at the Pump Fake Pod. We're not doing conference previews. We're through our conference preview season. All 31 conferences, all 366 teams discussed from Mississippi Valley State to Duke. We've done it all. So thanks everyone for tuning in on the previews. You can check out all conference previews available. Is definitely going to be you definitely can check out all the previews, all the timestamps, every team. Go to check out which conference. All here in the Pump Fake Pod. And then we're going to be live Sunday as well for our first betting episode for the massive Monday slate. So, we're here. I don't know what's going on with my video. So that's unfortunate. Let me see if I can move a little closer. This computer is going out of it. And this is what happens when all my other one co-host just decides not to show up, I guess. But anywho, we're walking around. We're having fun. We're flying by night here in my new house, trying to figure out the Wi-Fi situation. Need a new computer. So appreciate you guys suffering through the potato or hash brown nonsense. I knew my video was lagging last night. But anyway, this is the Pump Fake Pod, like I mentioned. Futures episode. First futures episode, pretty much our only futures episode, and top 25 as well is what we'll go through at the end and tweet our graphic out. So futures are always fun. We chop up every slate normally, go through each game. Don't really go through futures in that sense. You go spreads, totals, all that jazz when we're placing our bets. Hopefully my audio or my video is okay. Oh my gosh, I am super laggy. So thanks for tuning in. This is unfortunate. But anyway, last year futures were placed. We had Houston at the beginning of the season, and then we placed Florida. It was like 20-1, or not 20-1. It was like 8-1. Late in the season, a little bigger. So it's always about kind of figuring out the math. If you're picking a future early in the season, you don't want to go all chips in. You can kind of like spread it out as it goes further on is my attack. Because I don't personally do futures a lot, but last year it worked out being feed up for Houston and Florida national championship. I wanted Houston more for the bigger payout, but happy with Florida. And it was a restful gambling night, I guess. But I don't always get the luxury like that. I with my futures, I've definitely missed a ton. Trevor and I actually met and started the Pump Fake Pod because of Florida Atlantic. Actually, Florida Atlantic, we both had a future, so that's how we met, because we both had a future on Twitter and started the Pump Fake Pod through that genesis of their magical run with Dusty May. So all things granted, though, we're gonna get into it. We've talked about every team. I gotta get my sheet. Sorry, I've moved. Sorry, this is embarrassing. All right, just a little technical difficulties here, but we got our sheet of our top 25 episode. I know unfortunately one of our co-hosts couldn't be here, and then another one has just decided to just sleep, so that's cool. But anyway, I'm here, and we got some cool stuff going for the Pump Fake Pod. We're growing, we're building new segments, and we're going to be here in about a few minutes discussing a new segment here on the Pump Fake Pod and what's to come for the 2025-26 season. But I do have my top 25 to get into. I want to dive into it real quick, just because we've been through every team, so we know every team. We've ranked every conference, so we always do this. It's been an annual episode. I'll go through it quick. If you want to look up the team and our ranking on them, go find that episode. I won't dive into the status and my predictions too much. But my number one team in all of the country is Houston. I think Houston brings back a ton of talent and a little revenge factor. So I'm going to pre-rank them first, just out of spite, because I don't want to rank Purdue number one, but I will have Purdue number second. Braden Smith, when he wants to be, it can be the best college basketball player in the country. So I think Houston and Purdue, definitely number one, number two. And then number three for me is going to be the Florida Gators, the national champions. So technically you can kind of say they're still number one, defending national champions, bringing back Condon, and a couple other pieces in the portal. And Todd Golden's a good coach. So those are my top three. So we got Houston, Purdue, Florida. And then number four for me is actually going to be UConn. I think UConn is got a lot of hype. They're my prediction to win the Big East. I know people are high on St. John's as well too to win the Big East, but I think UConn gets it done. They kicked the shit out of Michigan State in that secret scrimmage, or not so secret scrimmage. So yeah, number four for me is going to be UConn. But following them though, number five is going to be St. John's. I think they're right there with UConn, not afraid to compete in the Big East and knock on the door there. To win, and they got Rich Pitino, of course, and they're number five in the AP poll as well too. All right, number six for me is going to be Kentucky. I like Kentucky. I think Kentucky is one of the best teams in the SEC. I trust Mark Pope, and I think when they're shooting the ball good, sounded like Magic Johnson's tweet today, when they're shooting the ball good, they win games. So number six for me is going to be Kentucky. And then followed by them is number seven, Duke. The two blue bloods. Can't stand those teams. So we'll just round them off together. And then following them, I'm going to have the Michigan Wolverines from the Big Ten. I like Michigan. I think they're one of those preseason darlings, but they're going to kind of fall off in the Big Ten. So I am going to rank them just because Yaxel Lendenberg and I do like Dusty May, of course, as mentioned. And then following them, number nine is Louisville, the Cardinals. They kind of got the shit kicked in by Kansas. Jaden Peterson was balling on, and Bill Self with the chest tap on Pat Kelsey. So, hey, I like it. I like Louisville. Their roster is good. You can't really judge too much on the scrimmages and whatnot. But again, that was some good content there. Number 10 for me is going to be UCLA, the Big Ten. Yes, Big Ten. But Donovan Dent coming right away. They're actually my favorite. I picked them to win the Big Ten. Of course, out of spite, not picking Purdue. But I like UCLA's roster, bringing Donovan Dent from New Mexico. And then you got Bilodeau, Steven Jamerson, Sky Clark again returning, and Mick Cronin with his weird attitude. And they kicked the season off against Eastern Washington on Monday. All right. Number 11 for me is going to be the Iowa State Cyclones. I like Iowa State this year. Tamin Lipsey, TJ Otzelberger has been a proven winner everywhere he goes, and he's definitely got Hilton South going, and definitely has Ames running and jumping up and down. It's been a tough place to play for them. Absolutely. All right. Number 12 for me is going to be – we're going to go Arkansas. I like Arkansas this year. Calipari's got some fire on him. He's built a good roster. I think it's going to be interesting to see if they can execute and actually get some things done. They were in a lot of close games last year, and they picked it up at the end of the season. And Calipari is no stranger to the SEC as well. All right. Number 13, we have the TMZ crew, BYU. We'll go BYU at 13. DeBasta coming in. He's an absolute dog. They're pouring a lot of money into their program. We'll rank them high. We'll see if they actually do execute on the season, though. All right, number 14 for me is going to be another Big 12 team, the Kansas Jayhawks. So the last 4 teams mentioned, 3 are from the Big 12. I liked what Kansas did. They impressed me. We kind of spoke ill on them earlier in the year in our previews, but I have no ill will towards Kansas. I think they're a solid team, and I liked watching them and enjoyed their ass kicking a little bit that they gave on. Oh God, why am I blanking? Purdue. All right. Number 15, we'll round it out. We're going to go the Alabama Crimson Tide at 15. LeBaron Philon Jr., Nate Oates. They got a wicked non-conference schedule, by the way. They kicked the season off against North Dakota. They played Purdue. They went to Assembly Hall, or not Assembly Hall. They went to Mackey Arena last year. Now they're going to Alabama. So we'll be interesting to see this Alabama roster with some of the turnover they had, losing pieces, but also bringing back some key pieces as well, with some that needed to maybe take a step up in the usage department with the possession percentage. All right, number 16 for me. We're going back to the Big 12. It's really not top heavy. They've just got a lot of teams in the middle and a lot of wild cards. Texas Tech, JT Toppin, potential Big 12 player of the year. I like Texas Tech a lot. It's been a tough place to play as well, too. So number 16 for me is going to be the Texas Tech Red Raiders. 17 for me is Tennessee. The Volunteers. Rick Barnes lost a lot of pieces. He brings in a couple pieces from Maryland, or a piece from Maryland, Jacoby Gillespie. He's going to get him rocking. So I'll have them in my top 25 as well. All right. Let's see here. Who else we got? All right, number 18 is going to be the Arizona Wildcats, the not-so-Big 12, standing proud in the 10 through 20 tier in this top 25 so far. I like Arizona. They got size. It'll be interesting to see if they can actually take it to the next level and get over that hump in March that they've experienced ever so much. 19 for me is going to be Creighton. I like Creighton. They're going to be competitive. Greg McDermott, he's kind of maybe winding down, potentially bringing in Alan Huss. So he's looking to come out with a vengeance and get some W's and make another run in March. So they're definitely in my top 25. All right, number 20 for me is going to be the Gonzaga. They just got that eligibility issue sorted out with Grant Foster, Ike. Superi, whatever his name is, and then Braden Huff as well too. How can you not hate? You can't hate Braden Huff. So I think Gonzaga is a top 20 team. I like when they're kind of lower at the start of the preseason, less expectations going into it, and then they go in and will be able to soar high in the West Coast Conference. All right, number 21 for me is going to be the Illinois Fighting Illini of the Big Ten. I wasn't too high on them as my co-hosts were in the Big Ten preview last night, but Illinois, solid program. Brad Underwood, great coach. They're definitely a top 25 preseason worthy team, in my opinion. And then following them will be Wisconsin at 22nd. They're a good worthy top 25 team also. I like their roster, but I am worried about them come Big Ten time. That's for damn sure. So something to look out for. And then 23, we'll just round it out with the Big Ten. Oregon. I got Oregon in my top 25. They're not ranked preseason top 25, but I really like their roster, and I'm a lot more high on them than some of my peers as well, too. So. All right, and then 24th. Let's see. You got 24th. Who do we got here? Why am I blanking on that? My sheet. Oh shit. 24th. Oh yes. We'll just go ahead and I know who I put 25th. We're gonna rank the Indiana Hoosiers in our top 25. We have to. It's a tradition. If you're new to this show, I always rank Indiana 25th. But this year we're gonna do it 24th. Because I actually am excited about this. And then I'm going to go a little frisky here and take Mississippi State at 25th. I really like their backcourt. I think they're going to surprise some teams this year in the SEC, and they're going to be very good. So Houston, Purdue, Florida, UConn, St. John's, Kentucky, Duke, Michigan, Louisville, UCLA, Iowa State, Arkansas, BYU, Kansas, Alabama, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Arizona, Creighton, Gonzaga at 20th, Illinois, Wisconsin, Oregon, IU, and Mississippi State 25th. Yes, those are all P5 schools, but that's how these top 25s go. We've talked mid-majors constantly. It's been great. We've talked to every team. Hey, Redman, I'm an IU fan. It's tradition. I always rank them 25th at least, and they'll be better than expected. Trust me. All right, so that was the quickest top 25 episode we've had, but we're not done. We got futures to talk now. Futures are always fun, and there's a lot to go off of. You have conference tournaments, you have conference regular season champions, you have player prop, kind of player award futures, and then, of course, national championship futures. Earlier in the season, you have make a tournament futures, if they can make a tournament as well. You can even go all the way to like making the Final Four. So not knowing what region they're in preseason, but there's lots of bets to do for college basketball. So I'll go ahead and pull up the roster. I know we've already placed a couple future bets on the show. I've already locked in Houston and UConn. This was back in April or like May, one of our last shows of last season. So those are only two futures I have currently. Looks like I've got some CLV on Houston and UConn a little bit, UConn especially. But I think there's still really good value as well in UConn. So I would highly recommend maybe placing them. They're down to plus 1,300, I know, so it is tough. But that's an interesting one. I'm going to dive in maybe to an Iowa State, UCLA, plus 3,500, plus 5,000 Iowa State. I'm looking at, my God, Indiana's plus 7,500, Redman. They're one of the most, they're up there to win the national championship. So the betting market's a little higher on Indiana. There's a reason they're in my top 25. Let's go. But I'm looking all over the place. I mean, I'm going to take a stab on like a random team as well. I mean, you put $1 on some of these teams, they win 500. Oklahoma State may be a worthy one. I think they could be higher this year. They're 500 to 1. So if I win, I bet $10. That's $5,000. Bet responsibly though, everyone. These can add up. But yeah, Oklahoma State. That's one that I like in the low end on the 50 to 1 odds. I think that's really good. It's on DraftKings. We always like taking some random stabs. I think we could even maybe go for like Final Four, like even something even a little longer. Mississippi State, I'm pretty high on them. Mississippi State is 110 to 1. I think that's worthy. So let's write this down. Let's go Mississippi State, K-State, Oregon. Oregon is as well 100 to 1. I think that I'm going to dive in on those two for sure. San Diego State 75 to 1. So there's definitely some heavy favorites. You got Houston 10 to 1, Kentucky up there, UConn, Purdue, Duke, Michigan, Florida, BYU to win the national championship, St. John's, Louisville. Kansas could be interesting as well at plus 2,200. Just because there's history there, and it's worth the stab. So I'm going to go ahead and write these down. I already have Houston. I have Houston actually 18 to 1. And then I have UConn as well, plus 2,000. So we're going to dive into it. But first and foremost, we're going to, before we lock in any of our futures, we're going to go ahead and introduce a whole new segment for the Pump Fake Pod. a reoccurring segment. So it's not just for this episode. And I'm really excited about kind of expanding the Pump Fake Pod horizons a little bit. It's going to be a reoccurring segment every once in a while, discussing a little bit beyond, what we're discussing every day. Looking at Youngstown State versus Wright State -7.5 or something like that. Not saying that the segment won't won't discuss stuff like that, but the segment will go kind of in between the lines, the practice management of things, kind of what does it take to kind of read between the lines of this whole betting sphere? What's an algorithm? What is betting in the first place? So kind of going in between the lines versus the actual just hardcore, like giving out plays and stuff like that. So a little quick segment. We know it best. Every good show has a little side segment. I think this is a perfect way to introduce our futures guru and our new segment called Beyond the Box Score as well, with our very good friend here. So we're going to go ahead and bring in Mr. Penny. How we doing? We got our Beyond the Box Score episode 1 here, discussing all things futures. Mike, good name, futures guru. I know that you've got some futures locked in. You got tons of stuff. You got ideas running through your head, and you're way smarter about betting and the insides of betting. That you got a lot of talent to give out and a lot of insights to share. And I'm super excited to get this segment launched this year and for 2025-26. So this is episode 1, I guess, the intro pilot episode of Beyond the Box Score here at Pump Fake Pod. The algorithm of nothing, I like this. And Mike likes to say. So Mike Squared here. How we doing, Mike? How we feeling? Go introduce yourself, and are you excited for this year and discussing some futures?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Been following you and Trevor and Elliot for probably since like day one.
You're one of our first listeners. By the way, yeah, this is one of our first listeners, an OG. We weren't talking to all brick walls. There was a couple guys hanging out at the brick wall as well too, and you're one of them. So thanks for that.
Yeah. I appreciate the kind words. I think you guys blow me out of the water when it comes to like knowing the player names, coaches, all that. I'll be the first to admit right now I kind of struggle with that. So hopefully we can keep the pilot running after the first episode. But I think I just kind of take a non-traditional look to betting when it comes to maybe futures, and we can get into that a little bit later. But I think like most red-blooded American males, they bet in some capacity, and probably about 5 years now. Just kind of woke up one day and was kind of tired of slowly bleeding money. You win, you lose, you go on these roller coaster rides, so to speak. And then did a little bit of contract work, so to speak, for company that was collecting college basketball data. And that's what kind of like the light bulb came on of like, well, there's a lot of guys and a lot of players out there who are doing predictive analytics, efficiency models, all the big buzzwords in the analytic community. And so just started diving into that in my free time. And I guess the long story short is that led me to your guys' podcast like 3 years ago. So.
And I'm glad it all you did. And I mean, it's college basketball has kind of had an untapped market, to say the least, I guess, show wise, betting wise. We got a good cult following, always a good community here, and a lot of insights to share. So Mike, kind of tell me, you don't have to go all into it. I know that we got a lot of season. November hasn't even kicked off yet, so we still got 30 games per team. you're better at math than me. So like 400 times 33 would be like 12,000. So
A lot of games.
a lot of games to go through. So yes, 12,000 games on the Pump Fake Pod. Kind of take me through kind of maybe just like ways you look at kind of things and what your ideas are to kind of go beyond just the box score. Like your segment kind of says the title within itself, but also kind of, what kind of insights maybe you're looking to share and what your goals are with the show and what you want to get out of it, I guess, and what others would want to get out of it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, my 30-second, elevator pitch would just be that if you're using some sort of, predictive analytic to form a base opinion on a game, whether that's, the Torvik, Housemetrics, KenPom, CBB Analytics, insert anyone that you're using. I kind of figure, well, why not use that as like a baseline for a game and, a set score of, KU 70 and, UNC 60, if that's like the predictive score, and to kind of reverse engineer that to like a price, quote unquote, like a money line price or a spread price. And then compare those numbers across all books. I'll say don't just bet at one book if you have the luxury to shop around, or if you use P2P markets. Obviously, Kalshi, all these are no big. They're all becoming huge. So we're at
and I can't really wrap my mind around that. So I'm excited to kind of learn more along the lines of that. I mean, these prediction markets are crazy. I mean, how in depth are they with like maybe like actual sports? Like I see them all the time, like presidential elections or like elections or like, will this person poop today? Yes or no? You can bet on it, but like,
yeah, you can bet on what South Park's going to say. Like, there's obviously it's an endless stream, but I think as Kalshi, look at Robinhood. It's a great example for all purposes. Robinhood is it's just an online casino. Like at this point, like hey, you have no financial training or background. Great, let's get you into some leverage. Let's get you into some trading options. So why not have people bet with it? And I think they're using. Don't quote me on it, and the chat can light me up, but I think they're using Kalshi's kind of sports prediction side, numbers, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, if you can shop around and get the best price possible, like I think that has huge value over time. If you're a volume better, if you're betting hundreds and hundreds of games a year, or if your bet count's reaching 1,000, I think getting a few.
I love too that it's also like with the markets, those betting, like those Kalshi betting markets, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this person is dropping and polling. I'm like, well, it's just like people are it's just how they're betting the money, but it kind of works similar to a DraftKings, but there's not necessarily like you're not losing the juice necessarily, or there's not like CLV, right? Or am I mistaken on that? I guess with those prediction market kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like an interesting, thing. Like if you, for anyone, out there that tracks their bets through, the Action Network or BetSperts or BetStamp, any of the big players, like you can get a rough average of like your CLV over time. And it would be interesting, and people can follow me along on BetStamp once, shows down the line. I'll drop, my handle in there, and we can, cheer me along or boo me along, however you want to look at it. But I mean, if you're getting the best price in market, I think it's fair to say that you may not get, 2% CLV or whatever, but if you're getting the best price in market over time, I think that's a good sign for you as a bettor. Yeah, it'll just be interesting at the end of the day what the rise of P2P betting and what casinos do with it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about just also kind of diving in more so on all things anything. I mean, we sit here, we talk all the time about, oh, well, Illinois State, they match up well to this. I think they're weak, but you can kind of give us some insights of like, how do we look into the math of things, or how do we go into all things, futures? How do we make futures work for us? How do we make bets work for us a little longer and kind of beat the books a little bit? And where we lose so much to VIG, I feel like you've been able to curb that with your betting strategy, and I'm excited for you to display that for all of our audience members and all our viewers and everyone. So it's going to be a good year, absolutely, and it's not necessarily stuck to this. This year, this year's show, man. It's definitely exciting, and it's going to be a good little arm to the Pump Fake Pod, and hopefully one day just a big media channel. So we're here. We're here. One final few thoughts. I mean, this is a futures episode. Is there a couple futures that you've placed or have looked at? Are there any markets that you like more so? Like, a lot of states, regulators kind of keep it to, okay, championship, Final Four, maybe player of the year. But some states do allow, things to open up, like, do they make the tournament or whatnot? Where do they finish in their conference? Some states allow conference championship predictions as well. Where do you kind of dive in, I guess, on futures, or where you're already looking, or kind of looking how to tack in 25, 26?
Yeah, so I'm in Missouri. So come December 1, they'll finally get with over half America and legalizing it, so you don't have to drive.
Yeah, Indiana's legalized before Missouri. I mean, all the
Yeah.
states around us have legalized other things, but they're going to lag behind that. So I'm fascinated by those regulations. But anywho, yes, December 1st is a great day for you. It's less than 30 days almost.
Yeah, it'll be probably a euphoric feeling finally. But kind of a broad stroke, like my futures, I don't really touch, the coach of the year, the player of the year. Like I just don't follow the individual, so to speak, or that narrative. I just kind of broad stroke, March Madness winner. And I kind of view it as like just, it's unconventional. We talked about this months ago. It's very unconventional, but I just like building a portfolio of teams. And I try to get a little bit more value on teams that I like. And I need them to get in the tournament for this to work. But essentially my bread and butter the past, 2-3 years has been, getting an exaggerated price on a team. And if, it's worked out, it gives me the option to just hedge, against them come tournament time if a good price, pops up on the opposition. So I'll use
That's a great point, because that's a whole nother tidbit of futures. You start betting futures early, like I mentioned. You could wait it. You could wait out on some, watching teams work. You may lose some juice, some odds, but at the same time, if you bet futures early, you do have the opportunity to hedge later on, which is a whole nother playing field, Mike, that I think you've been just impressive with, finding a good hedge, or just, massive odds, like you mentioned, something being able to work longer and work harder than it should be, or than what it's for, of the odds that DraftKings kind of places out, or a site like that places out.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to throw in, quirky legs. They're usually like, I would say probably 3 to 4 leg parlays. I'm not doing this at like a high dollar mark. I'll be transparent with that, but I'll get odds, out into the 400, 500, 600 to 1 range on teams that I really like, or that, teams that I'll think that will just make the tournament. And if something quirky happens, then, it'll provide a very nice opportunity to hedge. And I think my, one, good example, I'll pick on Mizzou alum. So I had Mizzou last year, like 627 to 1. and it was parlayed with, ran a couple random soccer games, anytime touchdown type of stuff. And when I saw that they were playing Drake, and Drake closed like, I think it was like plus 185 to like plus 215. It just afforded me to just, have a slight free roll, so to speak, against Mizzou, round one. It's unconventional. Like it's not like a get rich quick scheme or something, but like I think the average, fan, and I would say the average, your audience, would probably fall into this category of, being able to just look at, the top 100 teams and say, all right, well, obviously 64 of them are going to be playing, come that first Thursday. And, you can kind of start looking at matchups. You can start following, other guys in the space that do, some predictive analytics for, March Madness seeding, come February, maybe late January when guys start talking about it. And you can just kind of like, maybe I look at it as like a big puzzle. Like, did I think, Mizzou was going to win it all? Like, no, I'd be crazy. But they're going to, they're going to get matched up with someone who, unfortunately is a Drake coming out of Bow Valley, who's a very well coached team. They control the tempo. It's almost like the antithesis of what Mizzou wanted. And that, that time it worked out. And I think I sent you most of the random ones. Like, I think this year I got 3 random ones. I really like San Diego State. I think they'll be a top.
Which they're like, I believe 30 to or no, they're like
75 to 1 at DK. I think someone can fact check me, but I think they're returning some of the most minutes. They'll have an elite defense. So like even at 75 to 1, it's like, okay, yeah, I think they'll make the tournament. But I think I parlayed them with like it was the like Asian World Cup like qualifying. It was like Iraq money line with some other random, French soccer team, and next thing you know, it came out to like 554 to 1 is what I have right now. So it's like, you sink a little bit of capital, your $5, $10, $20 parlays, but when they do hit, it gives you a lot of wiggle room come March if they make the tournament. And I look at it specifically through the lens of like, okay, I think San Diego State can make the tournament. Virginia is another team that's really interesting. Washington, you talked about, I think someone in the chat was mentioning. So yeah, it's unconventional, not for everybody. So it's easy to like poke holes in maybe, or
but still though, I mean, if you can, if I can only bet San Diego State 75 to 1, if they start 7-0, that number is going to be down to like 40-1 here by December.
It's just interesting to follow like the futures market in general. Something I like, just because like I view a lot more college basketball. Like I said, you guys and Trevor, Elliot, your knowledge of like the individual teams, and to be able to go 2, 3, 4 hours on like a Friday night with a loaded Saturday slate is like beyond impressive.
And hit it like a random clip. I mean, we hit it a good clip. I mean, we've definitely. I 2 years ago, I still did good, but I would only pick like 5 to 7 games to bet on in a massive slate. Now I'm just spreading the board, spreading the cheese, and it's worked out. Kind of volume.
Yeah. If you're like a volume guy, and my kind of whole shtick, and I look forward to interacting with you, Trevor, Elliott, more. Throughout my 5-10 minute segment, a couple times a week, and especially like getting involved with the chat and like seeing which games they like. And then, kind of at the end of the day, it's almost like a, to use the buzzword, like a plus EV model. It's like, all right, well, what are the top 5, predictive analytic guys think, this game? Then, you go convert that to a price, and then you essentially just shop that price around and see which book you can get.
Well, it's really good for a team too, right? The way you're kind of extending odds, even one that's a lower odds future team to win the national championship, maybe like a a UConn that's only plus 1,600. But if you can extend that to make it, 25 to 1, 30 to 1, I
Yeah,
mean, you're increasing. You're basically betting though that obviously you're banking that they have a good season. Nothing changes,
exactly.
but at the same time, that's a great market to kind of tap into. Even those longer odds teams, you can even extend that to make it like 150 to 1. And it's not out of the question in college basketball to take stabs. Like that's why I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna lock in. Right, just so everyone knows, I have Houston here. I'll make a little banner here. Oh my God, we still have some banners here. So I got Houston, Purdue, and then UConn to win the Natty so far, or not Purdue. Sorry, Houston and UConn to win the Natty. I'm going to go ahead and lock in Kansas as well. Kansas and to win the Natty, just because their familiarity. And Bill Self is a proven winner. Trevor locked in. I know Gonzaga minus 160, West Coast Conference season championship. That's regular season champion, by the way. And I might follow into it. I'm not afraid of that juice. That thing's going to be steamy and will be soaring to minus 5,000 here fairly soon. And I like Michigan State plus 1,600 to win the Big Ten. I know I can't bring it in me to bet. Oh shoot! I messed that up. But Michigan State to win the Big Ten plus 1,600, and this is regular season. They did it last year, and they kind of surprised some teams more so. And Purdue fell flat. Purdue's got a lot of hype, but if you can shut down that in and out game with Purdue, you can get it rolling real quick. I want to take UCLA. I have UCLA winning in my preseason, but plus 700, I can't take a stab there. And of course, I'm going to bet Indiana 30 to 1 to win the Big Ten regular season, just because that's tradition, of course. Iowa State's an interesting one, but I'm going to wait on that. The Atlantic 10 is a fun one. Teams are kind of wide open there, in my opinion. I like Loyola 10 to 1 regular season, just with the Sister Jean energy going into the season. So, yeah, that's it for me right now and my futures so far on the champions. I'm going to lock in a few other sleepers as well. Also, we're going to lock in Mississippi State. Let's see, where are you at, Mississippi State? I think they're 30 to 1 or 300 to 1, excuse me. Or no, they're not. 110 to 1. So Mississippi State. Then we're going to go Oregon with the same odds. Oklahoma State 500 to 1. I mean, it's worth the freaking sprinkle, man. And I know you're not supposed to spread the board, bet every team, but if you can get odds like this, it's worth the sprinkle. I mean, it's a long season. Things happen. Stuff's not out of the question. Like you bet San Diego State and you got them at much better odds. Well, they just made the national championship as a freaking 5 seed when nobody thought they would go do anything because the Mountain West hasn't done anything. So this is college basketball. Parity is a real deal here. I know we had all number 1 seeds last year, but that's an anomaly here and there. Don't think that we're not too far off from a major NC State run as well too to the Final Four. So things can happen. Any of these teams can win, and I'm going to go ahead and lock those in currently. So those are kind of like my sleeper plays to go into. And you know what? I'll lock in Iowa State as well, plus 5,000. We're going to go ahead and lock that in now too. So these are kind of like sprinkles. We're not doing full units on these. So we'll go ahead and lock in Iowa State plus 5,000 also, just because I like root for them. They're a fun team as well. But then we'll hang out. San Diego State's still 75 to 1. It looks like Mike, so I do like that. But Mike's with his betting mindset, he's able to extend those futures. So I'm excited to hear you chop some games up. Do you have any other futures that you'd be willing to just take on your own, or any any predictions, I guess. Not necessarily have to pick the future, but maybe a prediction that you want to give out before we get out of here on maybe who wins the national championship or a random sleeper that could as well outside of San Diego State.
I would say one team that I'm pretty optimistic for, and I've been a very pessimistic fan. I'll say Mizzou at 150 to 1. I don't know if they have the roster to make that run, but something maybe just feels a little bit different this year with what Gates was able to bring in, especially like on the defensive side of things. So I think they'll be an interesting team. The 150 to 1 is just intriguing because like you look at all the fancy, predictive analytics and, Bayesian rankings and all that. And like Arkansas and Mizzou were like kind of right around each other. And then Arkansas being 25 to 1 and Mizzou being like 150 to 1. There's probably there's a definitive difference, I think, on the defensive side of the ball and who is coaching. Calipari versus Gates, obviously, but that was an intriguing number. You kind of hit on all the ones that like I kind of like, maybe that just like standalone. Arkansas, KU, definitely intrigued at Kentucky for this year. And I don't even know, like they're not even a sleeper, but I'm very interested in watching St. Thomas play this year. I believe this will be their first year of eligibility to get in to March Madness.
Yeah, man.
My guts tell me they win the Summit. I can't find any. My books are pretty, limited what I can see in state, but I just need to sit down for a little bit. And
it also sucks with those conferences. I can't even. I was trying to bet like an Illinois State to win the Missouri Valley in the regular season or Northern Iowa. Like I can't even find stuff on that.
Yeah, they don't have
the most team. Like the most obscure conference I could get was the American Conference. Like what? But
yeah, anyway. They intrigue me. Saw an interesting comp a few weeks ago to like St. Thomas of this year was perhaps like a UC San Diego last year, like this, emerging mid-major program who probably played better than expected. So I'm kind of interested in, I think St. Thomas returned a lot of people, so I'd be very curious like what their number is and like you'll see them like probably come February at like 750 to 1 or 1,000 to 1. But it would just be interesting, like you said, like maybe a little sprinkle because if they can get a little magic and
or like even like to win like to make the Final Four there's got to be good odds on that. But keep an eye out. I think conference champ. I'll keep an eye out for conference regular season and whatnot, because you could even try to make your little extension there. Because I bet St. Thomas wouldn't be the favorite, but talk about a good D2 school right away.
That's the kicker is the teams that you got these long futures on. Like, you gotta hope to God they're going to be a favorite, so you can get some plus money on the other side, or you're going to be drinking a lot of juice.
Right. No, or they don't start out bad. Yeah, you don't want them to start out bad, at least in conference play. But no, Mike, I'm super excited to get this rolled out. Beyond the Box Score, Mike is the man of the hour, or we're gonna bring him in kind of like during these betting episodes to let us get a beer break. No, I'm kidding, but also to kind of go inside the lines a little bit, like I mentioned early on, to not necessarily just give out a -7, but kind of like figure out why we're giving that -7, not just because of a player efficiency, but kind of maybe the insides of it, the math behind it, and also just learn like best outside of betting practices, just about the insides of betting as well, and kind of how like bookmakers work out. So I'm super excited for Mike's show. It is called Beyond the Box. It's going to be on the Pump Fake Pod here, a little segment and then soon to be its own show, and make this a media channel, as the chat always says, Pump Fake Pod to the moon, baby. So, Mike, any final thoughts here before we get out of here? Any way you want to plug your show one final time? Beyond the Box Score, I love that name.
No, I appreciate you guys extending this opportunity. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and definitely getting out of my my comfort zone, so to speak. I've never really on camera. I'm always just either sending you a DM or just reaching out to you guys via Twitter of who I like, or who some interesting prices, and just interactions like that. But yeah, very, very much appreciative. I see that's interesting. The St. Thomas is plus 150 to win the Summit.
They're our favorite then. Okay, interesting. That's got to be the favorite odds.
They might be the best. I think they're the best team in that conference.
Crutch's got like 9 books to find that. That's impressive. Thanks, so.
No, but yeah, no, I look forward to it. You guys will catch me on here. I'll drop my handle in as soon as we get rolling on the next show. Yeah,
next show Sunday. The Pump Fake Pod betting show. First one is back. No previews. No none of it. We know all the teams. We're going to be discussing the Monday slate because college basketball's here. So no show tomorrow. No show until Sunday. Probably around 10 Eastern to get started when the lines are out. And we'll be diving in every game that Sunday night episode, which I'm super pumped up about. I know Trevor Elliott is as well. And Mike is going to be there flexing his. I guess we'll call this the intro. We'll do the pilot on Sunday. So, but hey, it's like the lead in. They lead it in, and then they have the major pilot episode. Then, so I'm excited to see what you roll out this season, and we're going to become a good little media team here. And it's gonna be a great season. Tune in Sunday. Make sure to like and subscribe to the @Pump Fake Pod chat. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Redman, Austin, Crutch, Penny, you guys are the best. Appreciate you guys. Anyone that's not in the chat that just tuned in, thank you. And make sure to like and subscribe. I'm at Michael_Huffer3. That's Mike. He'll be dropping his channel on the next episode, and we'll be launching the Beyond the Box Score segment. And Pump Fake Pod will be live 10 Eastern Sunday for the first betting show. Thanks everyone tuning in. We're done with preseason rankings. I'm done with preseason rankings personally. We've talked to every team, but I'm the most prepared I've been coming in November. November's been a tough month for me in the year. I've lost the last 2 Novembers as a heads up disclaimer. But I won every other month. December through March was a winning green month each time outside of November last 2 years. But we weren't doing the previews. I'm ready to go. I know the rosters now. I'm feeling good. And I have my own ideas going into the season. Most prepared I've been. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you Sunday for the Pump Fake Pod. Peace and love, everyone.